Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebartogo.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about what we've learned about bourbon since we first met. My name is Kathy Cool. Please join me in welcoming my co-host Steve Akeley, along with our special guests Pappy G and Darren McRoy.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hello.
Hey,
Hello. So yeah, we're going to be talking about kind of what have we learned since the first time that we podcast. What have been some of the things that we've found out? So we'll get to that after the break. For right now, though, Darren said there's something you want to talk about. What is that, sir?
So I want to know if you are with somebody and they go away and their phone starts ringing. Are there any circumstances, or what are the circumstances that you would answer that phone?
None.
None?
Really?
Not my phone.
Not your phone. Huh. What if there's not even certain people that could get you to pick up? It wouldn't be like, oh, I got to take this.
No. Anybody wants to talk to me, they'll call me.
He's pretty black and white, line in the sand kind of guy.
All right, Kathy, how about you?
I guess it would depend on who is calling. Like if we're talking about who we're with, like if new guy's phone rang and he's not here and his phone is here. If it's like one of his kids, I'd probably pick it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, for the most part, I don't think I would pick up a phone. Someone else, but maybe again the right circumstances. Are they anticipating the call?
But you and the warden have been together a long time,
right?
You wouldn't pick up her phone if it were ringing?
No, because nobody calls her.
I know you call her, Steve. Twice a day sometimes.
It might be our kid, but yeah, I figure if the kid wants to talk to her, it's probably something just for her. So she wanted to call me. I figured my phone will just ring then, so I wouldn't necessarily pick it up, even if it was the kid. So yeah, I might be along the lines of Pappy G on this one. I'm not sure. I don't think I'd pick up a phone. Usually my phone is ringing. It's Royce Neely, so I'll call him back whenever.
Yeah.
After 27 years, 28 years, I've been corrected. I'm sorry. Ain't nobody calls her phone I won't talk to any damn way.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So Darren, you asked the question. What's the answer here?
So I don't think I have a good answer, but like I think if it was like my mother's phone and my dad called, I think I would answer that one. And I like to act like I answer my nephew's phone when he gets a phone call because it embarrasses him, but I don't actually answer because I don't want to talk to him.
And how old is he?
15.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's old enough to have a phone.
Good age to be embarrassed by your uncle, though.
Yeah.
That's a good embarrassed. Yeah.
Sure. But like most of the time I hate talking on the phone anyway. So it would really have to be something like I should probably get that for me to answer it because I hate talking on the phone anyway.
Okay.
So back growing up, we had our phones on the wall, the really long cord.
Yeah.
That if you were lucky enough, your room was close enough that you could take it into your room.
Yep.
It was in the kitchen. And every single phone call that came in, no matter who was on who took the call, when the phone was hung up, it must be reported who had called and what did they want. Who was that? What did they want? Who was that? What did they want?
So this is like your parents asking that?
Yes. Everyone had to know who was that and what did they want.
Okay. That's
And
probably
see,
a
I
good
didn't
policy.
have that problem.
Okay.
You didn't?
When the phone rang at my house, I knew, don't touch it.
Really? Because
Mom or dad answered the phone, and that was it.
Okay,
if it was for me, then they would tell me, "Oh, it's for
all
you."
calls had to go through mom and dad. They're the same thing
Yep.
as Kathy, but just in a different way. They're handling the calls and
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were 3 girls, so we were all running to get the phone.
Yeah. Assuming it's a boy. Hoping.
Or friend, or
Sure.
A
or I
boy.
wanted to answer it if it was my older sister's friend.
How in the hell? How in the hell did you manage? Again, this isn't cell phone days where everyone's got their own phone number and stuff like that. You're talking to 3 girls. How close in age were the 3 of you?
So my sister was 5 years older than me.
Okay, so that's quite.
So that was I was in junior high when she
Right.
was finishing high school,
and then the other sister.
2 years younger than me.
Okay.
So
kind of a big spread between you and the oldest sister, but then you and your younger sister were pretty close in age, close enough.
yeah.
That
Never had that problem. When we had a house phone for like the first 6 years of my life, 7 maybe, but my sisters were so much older, and like by that point, none of my friends really had my phone number, and then I had
You didn't have any friends?
no, but like. You go outside and you knock on the door, like instead of calling someone's phone. I thought you would understand this technology,
Right.
but like all of my friends lived close by that I would ever want to hang out with,
Right.
or they would have like my mom's cell, and my mom would be in charge of that and talk to their parents.
Oh.
But like we would never just call each other. That's weird.
Yeah, guys don't talk to one another. Yeah,
No.
I get
No.
that. Now, but the introduction of girls, and once the girls, but I was like in my house, I was 3 years older than my sister, and I had a dad who was a policeman, so he really watched my sister like not as much as me, and I feel bad. This isn't me, but my dad, so yeah, she was slow to the dating game because my dad was keeping an eye out on that stuff. So whereas me, I didn't really care. So I had girls calling, and then I would talk on the phone for a long time to girlfriends and stuff. But but didn't really have to interfere. So yes, we lived in that era where they had the, and I think I grew up in 1,000 square foot house. That's the house my mom still lives in. They've expanded upon it after I left. They finally had money to expand upon their house, and their house is bigger than that now. They added on a whole new living room and expanded the master bathroom and the bedroom a little bit. But 1,000 square foot house, we had a phone cord that was big enough to the central phone right at the corner of the kitchen that would fit into any other room. So if I had a phone call, I'd take it all the way down to my room, and it was long enough. Yeah. My mom used to talk to her friends. She would talk for hours. And the greatest thing was my mom was a bowler. She had a bowling league. And then when she would get done with bowling, then she would call the ladies and we're like, didn't you just spend the whole day talking to them? And she'd be like, well, we're busy bowling. We don't have time to chit chat. So my mom.
I don't think
Did any of you grow up with the party line?
Next door had it. We didn't have that, thankfully. But yeah, did you have that?
Oh yeah, there was 4 of us on one line.
Really? Yeah.
So
My
you had
neighbor
to
had
wait
it.
for a specific ring.
Yeah.
To know it was you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Multiple people sharing the same phone line.
Yep.
Yeah.
We used to get weird things where other people's phone conversations would get connected to our landline.
Really?
Yep.
And then you'd be like,
Well, the lines got crossed.
Yeah.
The lines got crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that
not
was
a
even
party
on
line.
Seinfeld. So that was as late as the 90s. So the lines getting crossed. So that just doesn't happen now. So fun stuff. So Well, there you go. Darren, I thought that was a terrible topic, but it kind of came around. So
Yeah,
there you go.
I thought it was a terrible topic too, but
Fair enough.
we were
It worked.
scratching the bottom of the barrel.
We worked through it. So, all right, it's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? We'll start with Darren this time. What do you got, buddy?
I got some Hard Truth straight rye whiskey.
Okay. Solid.
Nice.
Solid. Going to be very tough to beat. Very tough to beat. I've got American Corn Whiskey from Leopold Brothers.
Ooh.
This bottle is huge. It's a liter. I was like, man, this is a lot of whiskey, but it's a liter. So I didn't realize that till I just looked at how much is in here. So pretty cool. Oh! I took the lead. That was killer. Pappy G, you're next.
Yeah, I didn't get much out of the pop.
It was better than the
heard that
second
one.
one. It was better than the second one. So, but
Yeah.
not as good as my American Corn Whiskey from Leopold Brothers. I've got the lead. Last but not least is Kathy, though.
I am not going to win. This is an Art of the Spirits, the Ruby Port finish.
Okay.
I do believe that is your wife's dad.
Yep. That's my father-in-law on the side there. Yep.
It's been opened before.
Okay. Not enough. I take it. So, cheers, gang.
Cheers.
Cheers to you again, Steve.
I'm having a good night. 3 for 3. 3 for 3. All right, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about what we learned since starting this podcast. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com.
This is Mudcat Mike from MB Roland Distillery. You're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're going to learn what everyone has learned. They've learned it since we started.
It's about the learning. So
The
learning. So yeah, we'll talk about that. What has everyone learned? What are some things that you could just throw out there that you've learned, whiskey wise, not necessarily just in life in general, but whiskey wise since starting this podcast?
So my very first, I asked you a question when we went to Hard Truth. It wasn't the first time I'd met you in person, but it was close to it. And I'd been listening to the podcasts, and I came up to you and I'm like, so these heritage guys, they come up with these ideas and they're changing things. And then the craft guys, they got to kind of like keep up with it. How does that happen? And you're like, no, okay. You got it completely backwards.
You did.
The craft guys are coming up with all the ideas and the innovations.
Yeah.
The heritage guys are trying to keep up. So
Yes.
that was one of the first things I learned.
Yeah.
That craft is
That's
where
true.
it's at.
And now you know for a fact that's true. So yeah.
Yeah.
That would also be one of mine, not necessarily because of that reason, but if you go back to the early podcast, everything I liked. Again, I was always open to talking to craft people, but I always thought, you got your major leagues and then you got your minor leagues. And some of them might have been AAA, but it's two different. Now I think craft has not only caught up to heritage, but in many instances, not everyone. And again, by volume, by number of craft distilleries, heritage kills most of them. But again, I think at its best, craft is better than heritage. I think the small, you can find better whiskey at a small distillery because they can do the little things that don't cost them as much. I mean, the idea of, oh, hey, Jim Beam, go from whatever your air seasoning is 6 months to a year and a half. Do you know what that would cost them? Millions. But you know what it costs, the craft heritage guy? Well, it's expensive for them, but $15,000 at the end of the year. Well, that's a lot of money. But again, it's not on the scope of the big giant distillery like Jim Beam or something. So
Yeah. Turn away from yellow dent corn.
Yeah.
Get you some good heritage corn.
Yeah, get you some, white corn or something like that. And yeah, there's more flavorful things out there. So that's definitely a big learning thing of how important craft is. What has anybody else learned?
So, it just happens to coincide that when I started the show, it was a little bit before I really got into the whiskey industry, started working at the shop, all of that. So my list is pretty extensive. I had some basic whiskey knowledge, but like almost everything I learned at executive bourbon stewardship training and all of that, I have learned since I've been on the podcast. But the one that really jumps out at me is how many different people care so much about this industry, and that everyone, whether you just drink it, you make it, you collect the bottles because you have to take pictures in your Rolls Royce and whatever. They all care about the industry in some sort of way, and that's been really cool to learn and find out.
That's cool. Pappy G, what have you learned? You've been around a long time. Can an old dog learn new tricks? I don't know. What have you learned?
Absolutely. And one of the things I learned hanging around with you guys, and this goes back to the heritage and stuff, it doesn't have to be $1,000 bottle of whiskey to be good.
Yeah.
That is true.
Usually the $1,000 bottle of whiskeys are the ones that we're
They're disappointing.
not even caring about.
Yeah.
I'm definitely probably gone reverse in that stuff. Whereas those expensive ones aren't the stuff I'm interested in because they are the letdown. They're marketing and they involve, especially when you're talking about secondary pricing. If you're forced to pay secondary pricing for stuff, there's very few of those things that live up to those secondary prices. I really can't honestly think of any, but there's probably examples out there where there's some secondary pricing where it's like, oh, that was worth it. But man, for the most part, that stuff isn't worth the high prices.
And
It's
you
kinda
used
worth
to be a line sitter. You would sit in those lines.
I did, yeah. And I enjoyed that at the time. And again, maybe it was the novelty of it. It was also meeting the people and learning a lot from just talking to people about what interests them. And it's kind of a psychology thing as equal as anything. I used to enjoy just chatting to whoever was with me in line. Who else was willing to spend overnight at a distillery for a release, and why were they doing that? What was their motivation, and who were they? And yeah, I used to enjoy that for sure, but not anything I want to do anymore. No more.
Yeah.
Sleeping in a chair at a distillery.
I think that is the part of waiting in line that interests me, is who else is there in the social event that happens while you're sitting there. I could care less about the drop where I'm at right now, but I think it would be fun to get to know the people, especially back in the day when they're not all about to flip it and don't have any
Right.
personality. And
Yeah. I started to sour on this stuff when sitting in line for a drop of President's Choice at Old Forester, and Jackie's Ican comes pulling up and jumps out, and she's got boxes of donuts, and the people don't know who she is. And what bothers me is not that they don't know who Jackie's Ican is. It bothers me that I knew that anybody who didn't know who she was is a plant. They're there at someone else's direction to buy a bottle, and then they're going to take it and flip it. And to me, that's everything I ever got. I stood in line because it was special, and I wanted to get it, and I wanted to drink it. It was worth my time to sit overnight or whatever it was, or hours. Sometimes, and when I go to Kentucky, I'd get up at 5 a.m. and just go to the distilleries and sit in a chair and talk to people. But yeah, when I realized when they don't even know who Jackie's Ican is, they don't really care about bourbon at all, and I didn't want to be there anymore. So quit being there, quit going. Wow. So that's definitely something I've learned since starting all this. What else has anybody learned since starting this adventure?
The marketing.
The marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I'll
can
control
put
so much.
somebody's name on a bottle, and people have never tasted it, but because that name is associated with that bottle,
right,
they go absolutely apeshit.
Yeah.
Celebrity bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah. That amazes me too. I've learned that not in a good way. I've really disdained that sort of shit. But what are you going to do?
In your shop right now, Steve, you have a celebrity bourbon, and it's terrible.
Okay, what is it?
The Belfour.
Oh, yeah, the Belfour.
Oh,
yes, yeah. Our friend Jeff Andrizzi, he brought it just a share. It was a bottle share situation in St. Louis, and he wanted to share. And he thought, this is cool. He likes Eddie Belfour, and he had him actually went to meet Eddie, someone he knew from his past and his days in college. And he stands in line to get this bourbon, and he realizes it's not good. After opening it up with us, he was like, we thought we'd all be impressed by him. We're like, celebrity bourbon's not typically good. And then we tried it, and it was bad. Mm-hmm. Again, not necessarily offensive, like drinking urine or something. People immediately think when you say something's bad, it's going to taste that horrible. It's not like that. But it's a $90 bottle of whiskey.
I would never want another pour. After the first pour we've had.
Right, yeah. It's like you don't want any more of it because it's not good. And
you can't even put it in a cocktail.
Yeah, you realize it's a ripoff for the price that they're charging. It's terrible. But again, it sells because of that name attached to it. If you're a hockey fan, particularly if you're a Blackhawks fan, where he's a legend and stuff like that, yeah, it's a big thing. But you realize it's all about that. It's all about marketing and the name and nothing else. It's not about the whiskey at all. Oh. Go ahead, Darren.
I should not say what I was about to say. It was about Blackhawks fans. It was not going to be nice. So we should just skip over.
We're from St. Louis. We're from St. Louis. So again, not a reflection of our thoughts of Chicago. I like going to Chicago. It's a nice city.
I like Chicago.
But man, I hate the teams. I hate the Chicago teams for sure. Yeah. I like the Cubs. I never want them to win a game, much less more than us.
We're genetically predisposed to believe that.
This is true.
It's our birthplace.
People don't understand if you're not from here. And hopefully, I would hope they feel the same way about the Cardinals. I never want them to like each other. It's the rivalry's the fun. If all of a sudden it's like, we like them, they like us. No, then it's not any fun anymore. The fun is, they don't like us.
We also don't need to take it as far as like the Dodgers and the Giants that have 17-person brawls every time.
We don't need to kill anybody because we don't like them. It's just let's let the fighting happen. In the gameplay, not even the players fighting. It's just the gameplay. Let's battle it out on the field of play, and that's it. That's it.
You've led me to my next thing that I've learned about bourbon is they really don't have rivals. Like when Heaven Hill had the fire, they all just come together as a community and do what they can to help each other out, and it's for the love of the craft.
Oh,
yeah, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is, and it's a tradition that is tough to not participate in. When you can see the big guys helping out. Again, I worked for a food broker where you represent brands, and believe me, they would step on the throat of any of their competition if they had any chance to do so. If you can eliminate somebody, that's what you want to do. That's the ultimate goal, is to eliminate your competition, not in any way to help them out. So when they have a fire, if this is another industry, they're going to be like, you're just out of business. Goodbye,
More market share for me.
Yeah, but this industry is different. Everyone helps out and gives them whiskey and stuff like that, and allows them to run whiskey on their stills, so they can still be making whiskey while they're down and out of business. It is a great industry like that. Again, they compete on the shelves, and once you have the big guys, you see that kind of thing happen. It's small. It's hard for a small distiller not to accept the same thing, particularly when they can call the big guys and get help. There's many examples of our craft friends calling large distilleries, talking to their master distillers or someone who's running a distillery, asking questions, and they help them out. So it's definitely a great industry that way, for sure.
I just thought of another one. I talk about it all the time at the shop, but I hadn't thought about it in this context. Definitely, but when I started this podcast, I didn't understand that yeast made a big difference in distilled spirits. What type of yeast you're using, I just did not understand that. And over the last year and a half, I have started to understand that.
Yeah. Pappy G, what do you think about yeast and whiskey making?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference in the flavors.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you gotta get the right yeast, and you see how important it is. And again, that stuff you learn later. You don't even think about any of that kind of stuff. The production stuff comes later. You become a fan by taste first, and then you start delving into more. Oh, Tim Swyatt's coming in here. So
wow, look at that.
About time.
Yeah,
1 hour and 20 minutes late.
He's late. Let's hear the excuse, then we'll wrap the show up. Let's hear what we got.
This is
here.
more than just a little late.
Yeah. All right, Swyatt, let's hear it. Chicago
guy,
by
his
the
camera
way.
on.
Chicago guy.
If I could ever figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, let's hear
it.
What's the excuse here? What's the excuse?
The excuse was yard work, power washing things and using power tools, and then getting in the shower and realizing, oh shit, I had a podcast tonight.
Yeah.
And Pappy G's on. I really fucked this up.
Oh yeah. We got a celebrity with us, and you
yes,
you
we
messed
do.
it up. You messed it up.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap this show up. We don't want to repeat the whole show and get Tim into it, repeating stuff we already talked about. So we're going to wrap this one up, and then we've got one last one. So he'll get in on a podcast tonight. So we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me showing up on time to podcast at The Bourbon Adventures.
All right, Tim, we're going to let you plug here. What do you got?
You can find me showing late to podcast and receiving all of the noise my way. You can send it into McNew at what info@abvnetwork.com, I believe is the email address. Yeah. But send all your complaints. You can hit me up on social media, Instagram at SwyGuy2112.
All right, Pappy G.
Pappy G 1967 on TikTok. George Rose or Pappy G on Facebook.
All right, KK.
I am on Instagram at KK Cast Strength.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website, thatthingsabvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more. abvnetwork.com. Come by and see me, the ABV Barrel Shop. You never know what's going on. Everybody on this podcast has been in the shop at one time or another, so check us out online, what we have going on, who's going to be there maybe, at abvbarrelshop.com. Kathy, anything else to say before we get out of here?
Yes, I'd like to remind the audience to give us a 5-star review despite the fact that Tim showed up so late. It helps people find the show, which is very important to us despite Tim's late appearance. And if you like what we're doing, even though Tim was late, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang, with the exception of Tim, who was late. We'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye, more.
Bye.
Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing, the ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.